the Kumbh Mela, a name that echoes with spirituality and devotion. It's more than just a festival in India, it's a pilgrimage, a sacred journey for millions of Hindus. Every 12 years it takes place in one of 4 rotating cities: Haridwar, Allahabad, Nashik and Ujjain. This year the air in Prayagraj, formerly Allahabad, vibrated with anticipation. Devotees, their faces lit with faith, arrived for the Kumbh Mela. The Kumbh Mela is a time for purification, a time for ritual bathing in the sacred rivers. It's believed to cleanse sins and bring one closer to moksha, liberation from the cycle of birth and death. The atmosphere is electric, the chants of sadhus, the fragrance of incense, the colorful spectacle of faith, all combine to create an experience like no other. The 2025 Kumbh Mela was no different. Millions upon millions flocked to Prayagraj, eager to partake in the ancient rituals. The city buzzed with activity, the air thick with expectation. The stage was set for a celebration of faith. No one could have predicted the tragedy that was about to unfold. The Kumbh Mela is a testament to the power of faith. It's a reminder of the deep-rooted beliefs that bind people together. The festival transcends geographical boundaries, drawing people from all walks of life. It's a microcosm of India, a melting pot of cultures, languages and traditions. But as the events of January 29, 2025 would show, even in the midst of such fervent devotion, tragedy can strike. The early hours of January 29, 2025 dawned like any other day at the Kumbh Mela. The city was still shrouded in the pre-dawn darkness, but the streets were already teeming with life. Devotees, eager to make their way to the confluence of the Ganges, Yamuna, and the mythical Saraswati rivers, thronged the narrow lanes. The second grand bath, the most auspicious day of the festival, was about to begin. The air was thick with anticipation. The crowds swelled, their numbers growing by the minute. The narrow lanes leading to the bathing ghats were packed. People jostled for space, their faces reflecting their eagerness to reach the sacred waters. The mood was festive, but there was an undercurrent of tension. The sheer volume of people was overwhelming. Then, at approximately 1 a.m. local time, it happened. A surge, a ripple of panic, and the crowd turned into a crushing wave of humanity. The narrow lanes became death traps, the festive atmosphere replaced by screams of terror. People were trapped, crushed under the weight of the relentless surge. There was no escape. The exact cause of the surge remains unclear. Some reports spoke of a rumor, a spark of fear that ignited the panic. Others blamed the lack of adequate crowd control measures. Whatever the cause, the result was catastrophic. The Kumbh Mela, a celebration of life, had become a scene of unimaginable tragedy. As dawn broke over Prayagraj, the true horror of the night unfolded. The festive atmosphere was gone, replaced by a chilling silence broken only by the wails of mourners. The ground, once teeming with life, was now littered with bodies. The festive colors of the Kumbh Mela were stained with the crimson of tragedy. Initial reports put the death toll at 40, but the numbers were feared to rise. The injured, many in critical condition, were rushed to nearby hospitals. The medical infrastructure, already strained by the influx of pilgrims, was overwhelmed. Doctors and nurses worked tirelessly, but the sheer scale of the disaster was daunting. The authorities swung into action, but their response seemed slow and inadequate. Rescue workers struggled to reach the affected areas, hampered by the narrow lanes and the sheer volume of people. The task of identifying the dead was Herculean, made even more difficult by the fact that many pilgrims were separated from their families in the chaos. The nation watched in horror as the news of the tragedy spread. The Kumbh Mela, a symbol of faith and unity, had become a symbol of loss and despair. The tragedy served as a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the ever-present danger of large gatherings when crowd control measures are inadequate. The immediate aftermath of the Kumbh Mela tragedy saw a nation united in grief. Condolences poured in from across the country and the world. Politicians, celebrities, and ordinary citizens expressed their sorrow and solidarity with the victims. The tragedy transcended religious and political divides, reminding everyone of the shared humanity that binds us together. The government announced compensation for the families of the deceased and promised a thorough investigation into the incident. However, these gestures rang hollow for many who questioned how such a tragedy could have been allowed to happen in the first place. The blame game began, with accusations and counter-accusations flying thick and fast. The Kumbh Mela tragedy has raised serious questions about crowd management in India. With a population of over 1 billion, managing large gatherings is a constant challenge. Religious events in particular attract massive crowds, often overwhelming the existing infrastructure and security measures. The tragedy serves as a wake-up call for the need to prioritize safety and crowd control measures at such events. It's a call for better planning, better coordination between various agencies, and a greater awareness of the risks involved. The lessons learned from this tragedy must be translated into concrete action to prevent such disasters from happening again. The memory of those who lost their lives in the Kumbh Mela stampede demands nothing less.